Greetings, everyone. I know I'm in an unusual setting. I have never done one of these in a vehicle before, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I wanted to say these things while all of this is still uh, fresh in my heart and on my mind. This is part number 4 in this series that I'm doing, a tribute to my mother. This is the my attempt to tell the greatest love story ever told, son to his mama. And there's a lot of different parts to this that's going to come over the second several next months, because there's so much in my heart to say. There's so much to say. In addition to telling this love story about my mom, one of the other things I really want to do is to help other people who are dealing with significant loss. And man, this journey has been quite a journey. And let me just give you some background. My mom uh, transitioned on July 6th, Sunday, July 6th. I had a cousin who transitioned on June 14th. I had an aunt that transitioned uh, 2 weeks ago, and I had another aunt that transitioned last night. Um, so my family is dealing with a lot of death, a lot of death, and it's having an effect on all of us. So many in such a rapid time, and of course, no matter your level of faith in God, there's a human portion of you that's going to be affected. And one of the things that my mom gave to us, when I say us, I'm talking about my siblings, especially, but anybody who came under her tutelage. My mom had this certain tenacity about life, this certain toughness, that if you were around her, it had to rub off on you. Mama never gave up. She would never allow us to give up. She wouldn't allow us to quit. I've shared this story before, but I'm going to share it again and kind of let you know where I am. I was a teenager. I was one of the better baseball players in the Tidewater area. I was playing on an American Legion team. You had to be selected for those teams, and usually they select the best high school players in the area. It was in the late 80s, and of course, dealing with a different time and race relations in the Tidewater area. It wasn't 2025. If 2025 is not great, but 2025 race relations are a lot better now than they were during that time. Especially in baseball, baseball was still considered a white boy sport, and it was very well known amongst us blacks that if you wanted to break the starting lineup, you had to be at least twice as good as them. Well, I was being dealt with like that. I couldn't break through the starting lineup of other players that everybody, including them, knew that I was better than them, and I grew very frustrated, and so I quit. It was the middle of a game. I'm sitting on the bench again. I just said, I got better things to do with my summer than this. I'm wasting all this time and gas, going to all these practices, traveling all over Tidewater for these games, and I'm just, so I got in the house, and Mama gave me this look. She said, "You home mighty early? What's going on?" I said, "I quit." She said, "What do you mean you quit?" I said, "Mama, the coach's prejudice. You know how it is with these white folks, and I got better things to do." She says, "Oh no, I didn't raise any quitters. I know what they're doing to you is not right, but that's life. There's gonna be a whole lot of things in this life that are not right, but you got to man up." She says, "So whenever your next practice is, you go into that practice. You're gonna apologize to that coach, and you're gonna beg his pardon. You're going to get yourself back on that team and you're going to deal with it. I said, well, Mama, he'll never play me again. She said, I know. She said, but if I let you quit today, you will be a quitter in life. And one day you're going to have a wife and some children dependent on you to provide and protect. And things are going to get rough and you can't quit. So ain't no quitting now and there will be no quitting then. You got to deal with some tough stuff. Now, of course, I can tell you now that Mama was right. I did not agree with her on that day. But it wasn't no such thing as telling my mother what I was not going to do. So I did exactly what I was told because that's just the way it was in our household. You did what you were told. And so all those years later, don't you know, I was faced with the situation that Mama said I would be faced with. Wife and young children and the harshness of life, having to deal with it, wanting to just throw your hands up and give up. But Mama didn't raise no quitters. Well, I'm in a season like that right now. Man, this grief is tough. I'm not only grieving my mother, which is tough enough in itself, but I'm also watching my first cousin grieve that daughter that passed away on June 14th. She was only 36 years old when she passed away. And that affects me too. It's not the same grief as it is my mother, but it's a grief that I have to deal with. This past Saturday, I was in Baltimore as we did the viewing for my aunt. And I was observing my cousins, for her children. They were not in an emotional space to be able to close that casket. So nobody asked me to do it, but it needed to be done. I didn't want that casket to be closed by a stranger. So I did it. That's my aunt, somebody who had a hand in raising me. That's a tough spot to be in. I feel that. Yes, I'm a pastor. Yes, I'm a mature man. Yes, I'm a chaplain. All that stuff. Yes, I have tremendous faith in walking with the Lord for a long time. But that doesn't take pain away. And it does not excuse me out of leading. I still have to lead. I still have to honor my responsibilities to ministry, to my family. My family is looking to me for leadership, and I still have to lead, though I'm hurting also. And then last night, the matriarch of my dad's side of the family passed away. My aunt, 87 years of age. So many memories. So much that she poured into not only me, but to all of my first cousins on that side of the family, and to my parents, and to my uncles and aunts, and to other members of the community. What a blow. And through all of this, you got to deal with, I still have to deal with all of the pressures at work, all of the pressures and the expectations of my family, my wife and my children and my grandchildren, the extended family, my siblings. My siblings are hurting. We got to deal with that. My dad is having some health issues. We got to deal with that. There's a lot going on. But I'm leaning on two things. Number one, I trust God. I trust God, and I ain't mad at him. I'm not asking why, Lord, why, what else? No. I'm saying, okay, Lord, I understand what this is. I just want to know, where do you want me, what direction do you want me to head into? What are the lessons that I need to learn so I can be better used by you? Help me to go through the natural grieving process better. So on the other side of it, I can be better at helping someone else who's got to go through it, recognizing that even while I'm going through it, I still have to preach the word. I still have to teach the word. I still have to be a leader in my extended family. I may be called on to preach one of these services. Who knows? Whatever the request is, the answer is going to be yes, because that's part of my duty and responsibility. But I want to make sure that other believers know there's no magic to this. And we are all allowed to grieve. Grief is individual. It looks different to every single person. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed not to be all right. You're allowed to have to go sit down and get it together. But you're not allowed to quit. And I got that first from my mama before I really understood the spiritual portion of this thing. My mama, Agnes Marion Copeland, not only taught it, but she lived it. She lived it. She spoke it, and she enforced it. She didn't raise no quitters. Yes, my heart is broken because I miss my mama. Yes, my heart is broken because I've lost some other family members. Yes, I'm going through the grieving process myself. Yes, there are times I got to go sit down. Yes, I'm still crying. Yes, I am. But I can't quit, and I won't quit. I'm not going to push myself into sickness. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use wisdom. I'm leaning on my wife, and she's doing a tremendous job helping me navigate this. She's doing a tremendous job of keeping an eye on me, saying, hey, you might not want to do this. I was going to make a move. I was talking to her about it this morning. She said, I don't think you're ready for that. You know what? I'm going to go with what she said. But this portion of the love story, the greatest love story, I hope, from a son to a mama, if I could talk to her right now, I would say, Mama, I understand more today than I ever did when you said you didn't raise no quitters. You didn't. You didn't raise no quitters. It's rough. I'm going through it. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. I will see a better day. I will get through it. And I won't quit. And I'm encouraging everybody who will watch this. Yes, you can grieve. Yes, you can cry. Yes, you cannot be all right. But don't quit. Lean on God. Pray. Pray. Study that word and trust God. All right. I leave you with that. Thank God for all of you. Bye-bye for now.